This is SlimezFarmer from KingdomCraft again. The last video I went through repeaters. This time I'm going through comparators basically. So comparators are quite good for observing redstone signal coming from different redstone devices, and also used in a lot of projects. Very handy device. So the difference between a comparator and a repeater, I think I should have explained it last time. Repeaters, if you've got a signal strength of 15 and it gets to the repeater, it'll carry on the signal strength at 15 regardless of what signal strength comes into the repeater. So if the signal strength is 5 or 10, whatever, it's still going to carry on. But if the signal strength doesn't make it to the repeater, then obviously it's not going to carry on. Difference between that and a comparator: basically comparator passes on whatever signal strength it gets. So if a comparator gets 1, it will only pass signal strength of 1. If it gets sort of like 5 or 6 or whatever that was, it'll pass on that signal strength. If it gets 1, it'll pass out 15. Sorry, if it gets 15, it passes out 15. So the closer you go, that's the signal strength of 15. It'll light all the way to the end, right up to number 15 basically. And because it's 15, that repeater picks up the signal and carries on and passes down the line. If I go back 1, then yeah, that last one doesn't go on. This last repeater, that line stays dead. Whatever's down the end of that redstone line stays off. So that's pretty much it. So so that's in this mode. If you were to click this, there's another thing with this. If you have that and you send a redstone signal into the side of that, if that redstone signal is more than this redstone signal, this basically will turn off. So if I was to put, it's a bit hard to do there actually, easiest way is to put a repeater there and to put a redstone torch on there. That acts like a switch. So if there's a redstone signal on the side of here and you want this to be off when something else is on, then this works basically like a switch. If I was to put that, so that is equal or more than what's going in the side, then that'll turn on. Likewise, if I was to down there and I had that redstone signal coming in the side, that's currently on, but then if I had something, so there, that's actually, that's not the right way to do it. You'd need a redstone line going in the side. If that signal beats the other one, then basically that should turn off. So that's pretty much how they work. If you wanted that to be a straight on off switch regardless of what the signal strength coming in, so you had a line of 15 and you wanted that to turn off that repeater when it was activated, you would just do a repeater at the end. Your redstone signal comes in, it activates, and it turns off that. That's pretty much regardless other than the 15 strength signal. So anything else, this will literally just turn off. So another mode that they've got 2 modes. So they've got a subtract mode as well. Subtract mode works a bit differently. So if you have that light on, it has subtract mode. The basics are there's no signal going into this at the moment, so this just works as normal. So if I put in these, it just lights up, passes the signal through the same as before, no problem. But that's currently at signal strength 15. If I put this is a line of 15 blocks. If I put a torch here, it's basically putting a signal strength of 1 into this comparator. So it basically takes one off this signal strength, which in turn turns this light off. So if I was to break that, you'll see the light comes back on. And likewise, if I went down a couple more blocks, so I went down another block, then it's only putting that first one on. To demonstrate this easiest, I suppose we put a full 15 in. At the moment, it's only lighting 14 of the lights, because we're taking one off the signal strength using this. So if I take that off, there's no deduction, and therefore all the lights go back on. Ignore that last one because it's that one that we used earlier. Okay, so you take two off it, and then two lights over here should go off, and so on and so on and so on, all the way down till you get to the end. So there should be four lights on there. Yes, so four lights, two lights, one light. And if you go, I can't really do it at the moment because if I put that there, it just creates a bit of a loop. But basics are that just turns right off if I've got full 15. So yeah, so that's the two methods in which you can use those. There's different scenarios and where you'd have those. Like you could use those for scenarios. Right, so some scenarios. So we'll put some items out and I'll show you sort of, it's probably the easiest way. Probably use the same redstone that we've got over here to demonstrate because it's already set up. So the basics are cake, which you wouldn't have thought was a redstone item. You put cake in there. Uneaten cake is basically giving you a signal strength of 14. Not sure why it's not the full 15, but it's, yeah, it is what it is. So that's giving 14. Yeah, you eat a piece and it drops down by 2. So every slice of the cake you eat, it takes another piece off, another 2 lamps drop, and until you get down to nothing. So I can't really, if I do that, you can see it drops another 2, another 2, and then the last piece, and it goes out. So what's an example of this? We use cake. This is a good one. So this here is your target block, and this is another way of using comparators. So basically you can put a comparator in there, comparator in the side. You just leave everything as default, you don't need to click anything. Maybe I'll put a block there so we can actually see this. You can put a redstone lamp on that, and we'll put one to the side so you can see the difference as well. And then of course I need something to throw at that. I'll use a bow, is probably the easiest way. So I need to ditch some of this other stuff we've got here. Get some arrows, get rid of pressure plates, probably not going to use them for a while. Right, so if I shoot that, it doesn't matter where I shoot it, it still turns on both those lamps. This lamp here is being powered directly off the target block. This one over here is being going through the comparator basically, and then running into the lamp. So if you wanted this to be a harder target to hit, say you're making a game with target blocks, at the moment I can hit that anywhere, it doesn't matter, and it lights both blocks. This one here being the one that's been set for a harder, or could be set for harder. This one here is just default. So cake you can put there, puts out a signal strength of 14. means that pretty much anything, nothing but a direct hit basically will set that back lamp off now. So I can hit that, the signal strength's still working. As you can see, the back one isn't doing anything because it's not allowing the signal to go through because the signal strength is too high from the cake. But if I hit that right in the middle, you basically get both lamps going on again. A little bit off to the side and you get nothing. So that is quite an easy way to get it to work. And to adjust it, all you do is take a piece of the cake, and then next thing you know, you can hit the target out a little bit. So basically just inside that line, they're a bit off square, so it's this line here roughly by the look of it. Yeah, so just in here. Yeah. Alright, so with that I've taken one slice of cake and it makes it a bit bigger. The target area is slightly bigger. This doesn't have to be straight in the middle anymore. Take one more bit of cake and it drops the signal strength. And now it's well and truly up to that line and a little bit past it, it should be. Can't quite. Yeah, so anyway, you get the idea. So it just expands it out. Take a bit more. Don't want to shoot it, I want to eat it. So there we go. And that should be definitely past that line now. Wait on. Yeah, so we're out to sort of into this section. Probably about there by the look of it. Eat another piece. And it's more or less right up to that last line. Shouldn't be able to, yeah, so I still can't shoot out of the corner at this stage. Eat one more bit. So yeah, now it's pretty much the full block. Yeah. So yeah, so that's basically one example of how to use comparators. I mean, you can do that another way. Lectern is another method. So if you put a lectern there, and you want a difficulty level on a game, you need a book and quill. We'll get rid of the cake because that's probably the only time we're going to need that. Now each one of these pages puts out a different level, so you need, I think it's about 28-ish pages, give or take. So you'd sign that. I'm just going to go test this over here, see if 28 pages is enough. So basically you put that on, and as you turn the pages you'll see the lights go up. So the higher the page number, the higher the signal strength that comes out of the lectern. Okay, so 25 pages is enough to do it, or 24 actually is enough to do it. Yeah, so that's another way. You can, each one of these pages might say level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 and so on all the way through, and then that can be a way that people can set the game to a certain level. So basically you put that book on there, you would put a comparator off the back of there, a comparator into there. That just carries the signal strength the same, and just put a bit of redstone. So level 1 on that book currently, if you get your bow and arrow, means you can hit that practically anywhere, it should light up. But if I was to put that, say, halfway, it's a bit more than halfway, but maybe about there somewhere, should be getting close to being in there. So that hasn't actually changed it very much, just inside that line. But go up a bit more, maybe 20. We'll see where we are now. So it's so it's right inside that square now. So it's about there somewhere. Yeah. So you got to hit it roughly there, give or take. They're not 100% these, because this isn't square, it's kind of off center a little bit. So if we went right to 24, or I'm on page 25 at the moment, it's pretty much nothing but a direct hit should activate that now. Yeah, so direct target, and you can imagine if you made a game where you had to target that from way over here, it's going to be quite hard. Yeah, so you can see I hit it, but I didn't get anywhere near the target. Bullseye, basically. So anyway, that's another method of using those. Lectern's also a good. There's many circuits you can make, redstone circuits you can use lecterns for, moving pistons and opening doors, all sorts of things you can use them for. You could have lecterns, so you have to put them on the same page, and until both of them are on the same page, it won't open a door. There's lots of different things you can do. What's another thing? Okay, so also, so you can see that Comparator's basically taking the signal out of the target block. It's taken out of the lectern. You can also use them for chests and barrels and various things. They all have different half chests and a barrel, and full chests, half chests, or double chest and single chest, I should say, if you want to be correct. Then you can do barrels. I probably don't need that book anymore. So basically, you can do a barrel. Also, shulker boxes can go behind those as well. So you'd have a shulker box there, no items in at the moment. So all these are empty, so they don't put out any redstone signal. If you put items in, obviously they start putting out redstone signal, and that redstone signal again is a representation of how much is actually in that chest or shulker or whatever. So the basics are, if I was to put 64, a stack of 64 in there, it should practically only barely give me a signal strength of 1, because there's I think 27 slots in each of these shulkers, so you've got to basically fill the whole thing up before you get to the full 15. So you can actually make shulker unloaders and loaders and various things, which I've done in the past as well. So if I was to put all my redstone products in there, it slowly creeps up the line. Once it gets to a single strength of 15, you could have it so it activates a piston, pushes it off, so that the shulker's full. It pushes the piston off, it gets sucked up by a hopper and then goes into a chest or a storage system or whatever. So that's indication. These pretty much all work the same way. So if I was to put items into these, it picks the signal strength and so on and so on. This one here, it's less because there's more slots in there. So it's going to put out redstone signal, but it takes a lot more to push it along. If you wanted to just know if that chest had items in it or not, then you would put a repeater after that, and then that signal strength becomes 15 regardless of what's in here. You just know there's something in that chest. If you were to wanting an indication of how many items are in that chest, then or shulker, then you would do something more like this and have I think I've just adjusted all these. It doesn't really matter for this scenario, but basically you just do that, and then you might have a line of redstone lamps going up in the air or whatever, and when you load that up, it just slowly lights up more lamps, so lets you know that that's a full chest or shulker or whatever. And as you take them out, the lamps slowly go off. Simple as that. So an unloader, if you were doing an unloader, basically if you wanted this so that you could put your shulkers down, they unload into a sorting system or something like that. You would do something like, how would I do this? Just a real quick example of a method to use them when you're using them for chests and shulkers. So maybe you had something like that. Underneath here might be a chest. On top of that, there might be a hopper. Might do something like that. Then out the back of this, because you're going to be putting shulkers on the top of that, you might have something like that. That there will put out a, actually I've gone, oh, another thing, actually there's one thing I forgot about comparators. If you have a chest, for example, and then behind that chest is a block, and then behind that block is a comparator, and then you have, we'll just put a redstone lamp there. If you got a block in between, it'll still pick up the same signal strength basically through that block from the chest. So you can have a wall here with a line of chests and then all your redstone hidden away in the back. That might be activating a redstone circuit, or might be indication lamps that are up there like that. Just whatever really. But so that's another thing you can do. So you can have, especially if you've got something like I'm about to do, where you don't want the broken block to disappear into somewhere else. It'll become apparent once I do this to what I'm talking about. But basically, for this one, you would reverse the signal. So, what's the easiest way to do this? You would do something like that. A piston that breaks what item you put down, the shulker. You need to get down a bit more of an angle. Throwing blocks away. So basically, you put a shulker down. It doesn't have anything in it at the moment. So it's basically just an empty shulker. But then you put something in it. It'll light up this. That's detecting that shulker's still got something in it. That shulker's emptying into this chest. Once it's empty, I'll take a few blocks out so it doesn't take as long. Once it's empty, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That goes off. It can activate, push that piston, and when that piston gets pushed, it'll break the shulker, and the shulker will probably end up in this box. To be honest, there's different ways to do it. You see, you could have that so that it pushes it across to another hopper, and the shulkers get stored in a box, but all the items go into the box underneath into a sorting system. So the rest of the circuit, how would I do this? So do you remember, this is all on the fly. It's pretty much how I do most of my Redstone product the experiments these days. I just sort of make them as I go. So this piston, you'd want it to pulse the piston, so it just gives it a quick one pulse, and then turns back off. So because the problem being, when the signal comes off, you want the system to be off. So how do I explain it? I'll make the circuit, then I'll explain it. It's probably the easiest way. So when you put a shulker down that's got items in it, you would want this to power that torch off, which in turn would let the piston drop back. But when it activates, you want it to just pulse the piston to break that, and then allow you to put another shulker box down. So this is just a real quick sort of idea, nothing too drastic. So you do something like this. So remember, if you have a full signal going into this, then this would so maybe put that on 1 tick delay. This here that gets a signal, it'll activate that piston. So you do that, you'd probably just go like that, and put that on reverse, because that's getting pretty much a full signal in, so it's not going to turn off. So that basically activated that piston when that was empty. So I put that shulker there, nothing in it, so that just stays as it is. So I could break that shulker if I wanted to. If I put 32 items in that, that didn't do anything actually. Why not? Because this here is yeah, okay, so I made a muck up with that, as I do. So we'll do that again. So basically what you need, you don't want the signal going back into this comparator, so you do something like that. So that activates that piston, but then you need that to turn back off again, so you need the signal to carry on to go into there. So that turns that one off. That one there gets ignored now because there's nothing to turn this one off. This comparator gets turned off with this redstone signal, which is on a 1 tick delay. So theoretically, if I was to put a shulker down there now, and then put the 32 items in, that should deactivate. So that's deactivated this, turning everything off. Once that's empty, it should automatically reactivate, break the shulker, and drop it into the chest. And there's your shulker basically. So that empties them, and you could have a sorting system after that, which I'll go into. I'll probably do some sorting systems and things later on once I get a bit more advanced through the system. I've got one sorting system which I use, which is an old style one. I still use it today. It still works alright. It does have a tendency to break if you're not careful, but there's ways around it. So basically that's a real quick unloader. You can do different things, like you might have another chest that you want those to go in. You might have one for your items, and you might have one for the shulkers. This doesn't work all the time, but it's one way to do it. You might do something like this. Have two beside each other. if yeah, this isn't foolproof because it can end up going back into this hopper and into that chest anyway. But basics are you could do something like that, put a little wall around it so it doesn't break. The other thing you can do is use dispensers and stuff to put the shulkers in, but we'll go on then later. Okay, so you basically put your shulker down. It's got, say, 32 items in it. The system turns off, siphons through the 32 items. All going well, that should end up in there, but it might not. Not yet, looks like it possibly did. So it'll either end up in that chest, which it didn't, so there's your 32 items gone through, and you go down the back, and there's your shulker box. So you can do different things with it. You might have a water raceway or something with that shulker box disappears up into another area. There's lots of things you can do, but again, we'll cover off those sort of things probably later on, or maybe we can request another video that I can explain it all or show you some things. Right, so that's more or less it, and I think I've gone a bit too much with my items now. Got too many of these shulker boxes. So that's just a real quick example of a quick unloading system you could do. Nothing too sophisticated about that one. What else? Yeah, just trying to think what else we could use comparators for. But basically, I mean, that's the gist of it. They take a signal from Redstone components and they just pass it along. Whatever level that signal is pretty much what they pass out the back. They detect signals from pretty much any Redstone device and pass it along. Another thing, changing blocks. Actually, that's one thing I haven't gone into. So there's a lot of farms and stuff, like sheep farms and things like that, where a sheep might be sitting on a block. So if we duplicated that idea, not really a lot to it, but pretty much if you got a sheep, I'll need some grass because with grass you've got to have a block of grass beside a blank bit of grass or it doesn't grow. So you might have something like that. Actually, I've got this wrong. It's not that. It's observers actually for changing blocks. Comparators won't pick any of that up, so I've actually gone astray with that one. So observers basically is for changing blocks. So I'll go into that real quick since I started anyway. So if you had an observer there and that block, say there was a sheep on that and it ate the grass, let me get rid of some things here, then that would pick that signal up and pass it on. Likewise if that block was broken or whatever. So observers will probably be the next thing I go over anyway. So I sort of led you astray with that one. It doesn't actually detect changing blocks as such. It only detects redstone levels, inputs, and then this block here, which is, once that's hit with a target, snowballs, arrows, whatever, projectiles, basically, it will send out a redstone signal. So I mean, you can throw snowballs at those and it does the same thing. Puts out a redstone signal. Only thing is, I think that level's far too high for snowballs. Yeah, so there you go. So that's putting out full redstone signal there from hitting it. anything else? If you've got any questions or think of anything else that I've missed or you want to know with the comparators, just let me know. So the main key things is they're either normal mode or subtract mode. That's the basics. Again, with these lecterns, what page is that on? That's page 18. So, I mean, if I was to limit that lectern, say I didn't want it to do anything until it was on a certain level, I could do that. And until I've got that right up, it's not going to actually do anything. So I got that in the wrong mode actually to demonstrate that properly. So yeah, so until you've got that book, you know, on page 24, 20 where does it start? 22, 23. So page 23 is when it starts activating the redstone on the other side. So it's only putting out about three redstone levels, because it's subtracting all this other off from the other side. So got this at 3 as well. So yeah, that's basically it. So you can use them, any redstone signal that comes in basically gets subtracted if you've got it in this mode, and then if they've got this the other way, it basically just turns it off. So I would need that. If that was to turn off a couple down, and that whole thing, yeah, goes off. So that's basically on off with this. Redstone level goes in, goes out, and in subtract mode, where it deducts this redstone signal, whatever this level is. So you got to think about this in reverse as well, which is a common mistake. So if you put that there, that's a redstone signal basically of 2. If you put it here at the end of the line of the 15, that's a redstone signal of 1. So you think about that in reverse, because it's this end of the line, not that end. So that's a redstone signal of, I don't know, maybe 16, no, sorry, maybe 10, 11, something like that. And that's your full 15, so it should only be 1 block off. Yeah. So break that, and you'll get the full 15 strength back through. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. These, like I said, these all work pretty much in the same method. You fill up the chest, and the comparator will pick that up and put the signal out. And I guess, like I said, if you put a repeater there and you put a single block in that chest, doesn't matter if it's what it is, it's going to put out a full 15 strength if you've got a repeater after a comparator. Pretty much that simple. So yeah, it's, I think, more than enough on comparators. Anything I've missed, or you think of anything, yeah, like I said, just ask a question and I'll see if I can cover it off, but I think I've gone on long enough about those. Alright, I'll make another one. Probably, I think the next one will probably be observers. Yeah, I think that will be the next one to carry on from there. Cheers.